We're out here for bison, Tatanka, American buffalo, the iconic creature of the West. Across all Western states, bison are once-in-a-lifetime species. You have to apply your whole life, and you may still never draw it. And if you do draw it, you're never allowed to draw the tag again. And I share that envious news that I got this buffalo tag, and it's in a really remote place. The only way we get into it is floating down a river for a full week. So we're about to set off on this adventure, and hopefully it is the adventure of a lifetime. So for the first day, we get to the boat launch. It's hours drive. We're far, far from any town. We finally get to the river and we see it, and it's just this giant red rock deep canyon, huge cliff, these big monument desert canyon. We launch out and there's no one else out there. This is a late season float, so there's no recreational floaters or anything. It's just us. A lot of this trip is just getting down river. It's a big long float to get to this very remote area. It takes days of floating down the river. And these are river rafting boats. Don't paddle very fast because you're pretty much dragging this boat that doesn't paddle just to get to these rapids that you actually need it at that point. You paddle all day for a 10-hour day, and the river's so flat we actually paddle into the dark. This river's so freaking slow. We've gone not near as far as we want for the first day, so we're gonna work through it a little bit through the night. See if we could just make up a little more time because this current's giving us nothing. And finally find a beach in pure darkness and just set camp. And that was pretty much our whole first day. So this hunt is a migratory hunt. The bison are on river left, which is a private ranch we can't touch. We need them to swim across a river, and the only thing that's going to push them across the river is cold weather. So we wake up in the morning on day 2 and all our stuff is frozen, our water's frozen. And as much as that's not great to camp in, we're excited. We're only allowed to hunt on river right. River left is a high altitude, river right is a low altitude. So it's pretty much the wintering ground is where we're going to find the bison. So a storm last night is what we needed. All the bison like to stay on that side of the river up high elevation until it gets too cold. And the snow will start to push them down, so nice we got some snow on the peak up there last night. Same thing, paddle hard, push down river. And we're starting to get pretty pumped, excited. We're getting to where these canyons start to open up and we should start to see bison. Good shooting, soldier! We brought the shotgun along, and I brought my fly poles because we do want to live off the land. We want to eat off this land as much as we can. We got some great opportunities where some geese actually flew right across, and we got some shots, and we were able to take a goose. Nice big old goose. Decent good camp meat. Awesome. Thanks, dude. Sorry, dude. We butchered it and brought it back to camp that night, and nothing tasted so good. Just to be eating off the land. A bunch of guys just standing around the frying pan, just pulling it right out of the pan. And just a small way finding our own food, but it felt really good, and it felt like we're hunting. We're doing it.
That's good. It's real good. Great flavor. Great. Awesome flavor.
Day 3, we wake up and it's on. We're just a couple miles from where we expect to see bison, an area we expect them to swim across the river. So we're pumped. We just paddle as fast as we can down river, get there pretty quick, kind of midday, pull the boats up on the beach, put the stakes in, and just jump out of the boats, grab our rifles. Let's go actually hunt bison for the first time, maybe the only time. we look at this big canyon and there's juniper trees and we can't really see that far, so we're like, all right, let's get high. We get up on this plateau kind of in the middle and just start glassing, get the binos out, get the spotting scope out, and start looking over all the land. And it looks good, it looks like bison country. This whole canyon is full of scat. It's like wintering ground. There's old scat everywhere. But then we finally start to see some brown scat, hasn't grayed out, hasn't dried completely.
Not too fresh.
And so we're getting excited. We started seeing some tracks, and we're just following them way up in this canyon. We look over, and there's just these petroglyphs. And if you look, these are hunting stores. This is a bighorn sheep right here. There's a snake. We've seen ones with elk and bison. And, you know, humans have been hunting here for thousands of years, and it's just cool to participate in this tradition. What they're drawing up there, I believe, is like a hunting story, but it also tells you, hey, these animals are in this area. You know, he drew a bison. Maybe we could find a bison too in this spot. And all of a sudden we come across a bison kill. I've already had some bison hunters in here. Got it done. See, the head's gone, so that's how you know it's hunters. Look at that giant hump. That's crazy, this huge hump coming off the spine. Let's hope we can find some more. Someone got a bison here probably a week or two ago, and we started to put it together that a bison herd had come across the river a couple weeks ago, but because it's been too warm for this hunt, they pushed back up in high elevation where it's colder again. So we had to just, after reading that sign, call it quits on this area. So day 4, we wake up and we have a plan. We know there's another migratory path further down, but now today we're about to hit some real rafting whitewater. We have to put on dry suits because the water is almost freezing, below freezing in the air, and our boats are just loaded with gear. And I have this alpaca pack raft, so I split off one of the boats to lighten it up and just get in the pack raft. I started hitting these rapids in the pack raft, and this raft is just bouncing up and down on these huge waves. These are class 3s. It was a lot of fun. It was pretty sweet. We're just hauling butt this day, just down river. Everyone's paddling hard, and we are moving. We're trying to get to that next migratory spot, see if we can find some more bison down there. We get to this nice little creek coming out on the side canyons, and it's clear and it looks good, so we grab the poles out of the Midnight Forest pole case, and we get to fishing on this creek. And I mean, it didn't take long. Put some cast in, just letting the fly just ride right along this little cut bank, and bam, in like 3 minutes I just get this decent sized brown trout. Got a nice brown trout here, pretty good size for how small this creek is. 10-inch brown trout. So after a whole day of paddling, we knew at least we had that trout, and it was just awesome to get into camp, throw that trout in the pan. The whole crew just spiced it up, forking out of the pan. I never had a better tasting trout than that one. It was awesome. Let's get a bison.
Prost.
So the next day, after all these rapids, we arrive at the final spot we expect them to be. There's the only other migratory area they could come through into this wintering ground we're allowed to hunt. The problem is it takes a lot longer to get down this river than we thought. It's a remote spot. It's hard to get down this river, and we're running out of time. We get up on this plateau with only a half a day, and we hike 5 miles back, and we do, again, get on the bison sign.
This looks like it could be an old bison wallow. They wallow in the dust. If you look at this, there's 2 tracks. These tracks are pretty fresh. You can see there's boot tracks, not from us. Those boot tracks are older than the bison tracks. Might be close to them. Found another kill site. That's part of its hump that comes off the rib cage. Its pelvis.
But again, the bison sign is about a week old. A week or two prior to this, there was a cold snap that seemed to push the bison across the river, but none have come since then. And we're not seeing anything, and it's just starting to set in. Like, after all this planning and rafting down this river and going so far in such a long trip, we got unlucky with the timing.
Well, this is day 6. We're pretty much out of time. Found some week-old sign. They migrated through, and they're just way back up in the mountains, further than we can get with how much time we have. They're not here in the area right now. Fortunately, looks like this is the end of the road for our hunt.
We're not going to find them. We're not finding these bison. It's a migratory hunt. There's a little bit of luck with the timing. We're so close. We're on tracks. The scat is decently fresh, but just not close enough. We're out of time. We kind of realized right there it's over. The sun set, it's over. And we got to hike back in the middle of the night for hours back to camp, and still got to paddle out another day. We couldn't deny that we just appreciate even the opportunity to hunt bison, to even participate in this tradition, just like we saw those petroglyphs of people 1,000 years ago hunting bison. Sure, we didn't get to see one on the hoof, but we just had to be grateful for this experience. We're in the middle of nowhere, floating down this river, chasing bison. Bison back in the turn of the century were almost completely extirpated from North America, pretty much almost extinct. And with conservation efforts, they brought them back and made it even possible for us to even just have this ability to try to find them. And that's something we got to appreciate as hunters and conservationists. Depression set in that we didn't get one, but quickly we're like, you know what? It's just cool that we got to do this. If we get to hunt bison again one day, I'll just be grateful just for the experience.